Next speaker is Lisa McDonald. Lisa is going to give us an update on Agri Recovery. And Lisa, come forward, please.
Hello. So I'm Lisa McDonald from the Department of Agriculture. I'm the Director of Farm Business Risk Management, and I'm out at the Agriculture Insurance Corporation, if anybody has ever seen me out there. So, Agri Recovery Framework for Post-Tropical Storm Dorian. So, this is just a briefing. Agri Recovery is a disaster relief framework. It exists within the BRM programming, so which also includes your agri-insurance, your agri-stability, your agri-invest. And it's financial assistance for extraordinary costs which would not normally incur, resulting from actions that must be taken in order to mitigate the impacts or resume production as quickly as possible. So this is the key process map. Right now, where the yellow circle is, that's where we're at right now. We received a request from the Federation of Agriculture. I'm not sure if Robert's here today, but he's put it in, and corn was definitely on the list. And we've also now received one for cranberry, if there's any cranberry growers here as well. So Robert supplied data about it not being a recurring event and abnormal. I think most of us know post-tropical storms are pretty abnormal here. So right now we're trying to determine what the extraordinary costs were. So we've been working with all the industry groups to help them develop surveys, and there's been some back and forth, and hopefully soon we're going to meet on Thursday again about some of the surveys, but hopefully there'll be a survey coming out to you to fill out, and then once we get those responses, so in the survey there'll be things like how many acres did you grow, how many acres were impacted, what did you grow, where were they, what were your extraordinary costs incurred to, if you were able to harvest, what costs were there. So once we have that in, then we'll collect all the data and give that to the province, and then the province will decide whether or not we move to the information on the right, which that's the federal formal assessment. So once the province gets that okay, then we will be able to give all the collected survey data to the feds, and then we'll run through those other measures of, like, it needs to be a collective experience, there needs to be significant negative impacts. So that's where the survey is really important, especially like the collective experience. That'll help us give them the data to show that yes, there was multiple farmers, it wasn't just one or two, there was impacts. Then they look at the extraordinary costs associated with recovery, and are they significant? And then your capacity to manage. So I know in there from delivering the 2018 horticulture one, that's where they do take into consideration crop insurance, agri-invest, agri-stability, those types of programs as well. So then once you get to that point, if there's a dollar amount there, then it has to go to federal and provincial treasuries, and they both have to have the money to put into it. And then if we get to that point, then we do a program delivery, which we did here last summer. So this just talks about how we're in the survey. So we're going to have a survey for corn. Dairy's going to have cattle, hog, and apple. Now cranberry, I have to talk to Alan and Neil and those folks to see where cranberry will fit. It might have its own. And minimum survey participation, our goal is 50%. I know here it says complete not less than 51%, but we really, our goal is to get at least 51% of the producers returning responses. So we hope you'll encourage, hopefully you guys will fill it out, get your neighbors to fill it out. The more data we have, the more we can support the information going forward. So we've gone through some of these steps already. We had drafted a survey. Step 2, it's gone back and forth a bit. We're still in the drafting phase. We're meeting on Thursday with the industry groups to try to finalize the surveys and get them up so people can fill them in. Yeah. So does anybody have any questions?
Yes, I guess wondered, has there been any timeline goals set to have certain steps accomplished?
So once we get the preliminary side done, the side in yellow circle done, if the province decides to go for a formal assessment, there's 120 days. So there is a timeline on that part. So from the time we submit, trigger that with them, there's a 120-day timeline they really try to stick to determine an answer.
Yeah, no, I thought there was a timeline there. I'm just wondering the timeline from the start of our process to their process. Like, are there timelines established? All right, we're going to have this done by such and such a date, so then we can go to the next step with the feds. Like,
We've been trying, but there's been a lot of back and forth, so.
I know, I'm not trying to be hard on anybody. I just, you hear this.
Oh, I know, and I know we need to get it done, right? Like, we need to get, if there's going to be something, you guys need the money as soon as you can. So we're trying to really work well with industry to try to get the surveys out, and then they'll probably be open for 4 weeks. We're hearing from industry or from some of the groups we talked to, that would be a good time to have that open, and then we're committed to then trying to get the data all together and get it into the province and see what they do with it.
Lisa, if I can just add a comment from industry's point of view. Neil Campbell and myself, we had a number of growers together at the grain elevator just as a sample to kind of get a sense of the survey. And we know that the province is getting input from the feds on how they want the survey to look. And I'm just curious, from the room's point of view, the survey is going to be available on a Squirrel or Survey Monkey,
yes,
online, and also in paper format. And we have a 4-week window, and I've got to tell you, the survey is pretty empty. The feds don't want us to lead growers through they don't want to identify costs for the growers. They want the growers to do that. And I'm just wondering whether you guys think we should have a workshop, have 2 or 3 days where we might go up west one day, somewhere in Queens County another day, and somewhere down east for an hour or 2-hour session where growers could come in and we could try to help fill out the survey or identify costs that are probably fairly common across different corn growers. So any thoughts you have on that, please let us know, because one concern we have is if everybody fills the survey out differently, we're going to end up with less data that's usable by the province.
yeah. And maybe, Alan, we need to chat after too, because that was the concern I've had this week from some other groups as well. So I think we might be opening up the survey if you have some specific things you might like in there, because we're hearing that concern from others as well. And we do want to make it easy to fill out, easy to answer. The only thing I caution is if we open it up, some things might not be eligible down the road, but we'll let the process kick that out if there are some things there. But yeah, so maybe we can chat after too to make sure we have it simple. Anything else?
Good. Well, thank you, Lisa, and thanks everybody for your attention this afternoon. This brings the formal part of our session to a close. We were attempting to play some video that Alan had taken earlier of showing some of the corn damage, or some of the damage to corn by the hurricane. We'll try to get that up on the screen, but feel free to leave. Leave your questions on the table